I'm here to empower and inspire the next generation.
This week, the creator of the curriculum, DJ Hapa.
DJ Hapa.
Sometimes you are given something and it is really your job to figure out, do I take this as is or do I try to find what lies beneath? I am so grateful and so blessed to have been able to do so many amazing things through my career and through my life. But the biggest blessing is getting a chance to wake up every morning excited to see what God is going to do through me next.
All right, here we are. Welcome, everybody. I'm excited to have you here. My name is Coach Hapa. I am from the DJ Coach. For those of you who are joining us live, welcome. We are excited to have you. Today, what we're going to do is we are going to break down everything that you need to know to be a DJ. And some of you may already be DJing. Others of you maybe are thinking about getting into DJing, but you don't know where to start. So what I want to do is I want to break this down. We're going to take it step by step. I'm going to talk about the most important things that you need to have in order to start DJing. And I'm going to make this really, really simple. So I'm going to come on over here to my whiteboard and take a look here. The first thing that you need in order to DJ is you need music. Notice that I said that that's the first thing that you need. It's not the only thing that you need. It's the first thing that you need. And making sure that you have access to music is helpful. The second thing that you need is you need some way to control that music. You need somewhere to control the music that you have. And then the third thing, which by the way, is this backwards for you? I'm not sure if this is backwards for you, but this is looking backwards to me. I'm hoping that this is not backwards for you. Is the writing backwards? Somebody let me know in the comments here. The third thing that you need, and so when we talk about, actually, let me go to control really fast. So you need music, you need some way to control it. And when we're talking about controlling, we are talking about either a DJ controller. Maybe you're using software, right? So this is really hardware and software. So like hardware and software. Talk about those two pieces as well. And then the third thing that you need in order to be able to start DJing, and this is actually really important, is you need some sort of plan. You need a step by step plan of how you're actually going to do this. And of course, like there's a couple of other things like feedback would be great to be able to have as well. So I want to break this down. We're going to start with number one in terms of music. So where do you go to get your music? There's lots of different options that we have as listeners. Some of those options also work for DJing, and some of those options are not great for DJing. I have a whole YouTube video specifically on why I believe that you should not use streaming services as your primary music source as a pro DJ. However, for somebody just getting started, streaming services might work out. If you're just trying to stay at home and you're just trying to figure a few things out, I will say this though, is that if you start on a streaming service, that means that your whole library is tied to that subscription. So you may not want that long term. We have 3 different categories of how you would get music. I'm going to come to my whiteboard real fast here. There are 3 different categories for how you get music. One would be that you pay per track. One would be that you use a subscription service. And then the third one would be that you're using a record pool. Now, in my opinion, record pools would be the top choice. Pay per track would be, so I'm going to give this one of those. Pay per track would be my second choice, and my subscription would be my third choice. That's the order in which I would do this. So I would really focus on record pools as being your main source as a DJ, and that way you actually have the MP3. The MP3 is what you own. You have that. That'll go with you wherever you go. Whereas if you were to just do this as a subscription, as soon as you cut off that subscription, there goes all of your music. Now, a record pool still has a subscription service tied to it, but it will, if you stop paying the subscription for the record pool, you still have the music. You still have the MP3s, which is very useful, very helpful. So let me do this real quick. And I know we've got some comments in the chat as well. I see you here, Anthony Wilson. Good to see you, man. It looks like Rabbi or Robbie 47. Good to see you here on YouTube. Look, I don't have any money. Want to mix? Where to find music? I appreciate your honesty. I will tell you this. This whole series that I'm doing, this is a live help series that I'm doing, but this one specifically today is how to get into DJing. I really want to make sure that you understand what that means to get into DJing, that there is going to be an investment, that there is going to be a cost. It's the same as wanting to get into golf. There's a cost to be able to get into playing golf, right? In almost anything that you get into, there is some bit of a cost. Now, there are ways to spend that money wisely. You don't need to go out and get the most expensive DJ controller, but you are going to need to have something to be able to perform with. The difference when it comes to DJing versus golf is that you're actually able to see return on your investment when it comes to DJing a lot faster than it would be playing golf. I think golf becomes this never-ending pit of spending money for a lot of people, unless you are doing this professionally. Maybe you're entering into some tournaments, maybe you're getting that. And by the way, return on the investment doesn't necessarily need to mean physical dollars, right? Like maybe this makes you feel good. Maybe this is good for your mental health. I mean, what's that worth, right? It's worth quite a lot. But I will say for DJing in particular, there are some costs that we just need to be prepared for. And I'd be leading you down the wrong path if I told you that you could get into DJing for zero cost. That's absolutely not true. And anybody that tells you that is lying to you. And there really will be a ceiling to where you'll be able to go if you aren't willing to invest in yourself to some degree, some type of investment. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open up my screen here. Can you all see that now? Okay, good. Let's go here. I'm gonna go to one of the record pools that I use. So I use a record pool called Direct Music Service. Let's open up a couple actually while we're at it. We'll also go to Headliner and we'll go to the Mashup. And these are some really great sources. These, again, the record pools themselves, you need to be a professional DJ and you've got to fill out a form, which, by the way, you can also be an aspiring professional DJ. It's just that they want to make sure that the agreement that they have with the labels, they want to make sure that you are just not some person that's out here that's going to resell the music. So you need to go through, you'll fill out a questionnaire. I've never seen any of my students denied for any of the record pools. You can just be honest, say that you're a student, say that you're learning how to DJ. You can even mention me if you want. And a lot of these folks are friends of mine. And now that I'm in here, let me show you what the record pool looks like. So this is one of the pools. This is Direct Music Service. So you can see, we can see all different types of genres of music. This is all stuff based on date added. So this is stuff that was added even this morning. So you'll see that there's a Mark Morrison versus Bad Bunny, right? Like there's just different options that I've got here. A lot of remixes, bootlegs, versions of songs that you're not going to find on Spotify. Also, something that I like to do is I like to use the record pool as a discovery tool as well. So there might be some stuff that you see in here that you're just like, man, what? Bring That Body by The Dream. I don't even remember that. When did this come out? Is this a new track? 2026 is when it says it was added. We can listen to it. Here's this Justin Bieber, Beauty and a Beat. Obviously, that's kind of come back around since Bieber played at Coachella. And so, you can, all right, this one is a clean, super short edit, no Nicki. And I can just download it. I can also listen to it ahead of time. I'm here on YouTube right now, so I don't want to get flagged for any sort of copyright claim or anything like that. So I'm probably not going to click on anything and listen to it necessarily right now. But you can listen to the track ahead of time before downloading it, which I think is actually really important to do. Do not just start downloading everything. You will actually end up with a bunch of junk that you don't want. So try to be a bit critical about what you will download. Now, again, if I'm just getting started, right? This is what we're talking about here today. We're talking about just getting started as a DJ. What are the things that you need? Well, you need music, you need some way to control that music, you need a plan. These are the first 3 steps. Now, you just need some type of music. You don't need to have 1,000 of your favorite songs, but you do probably need a small little group of songs that could go together. So maybe you're looking at, I don't know, 12 to 15 songs, maybe 20 songs that you've now got in your possession. And the next step to that is you're going to try to figure out which one of these songs can fit with another one. So it's a little bit like doing a matching game. And one of the most important components to that is we're going to use this concept, which I'm going to show you this real quick. So one of the most important things as a DJ is BPM. It stands for beats per minute. And I have a general rule of thumb, which is plus or minus 4 beats per minute. So if I had a song that was 120, I'm looking for a song that's 116 to 124 that could match with that. So I'm not everything is going to mix with everything else. So this is where this becomes really important. Now, something that's different in the record pool versus maybe Spotify is, check this out. Here, you can actually see there's a column for BPM. So as I'm going through, and maybe I've centered around a song, like maybe this Maya and Too Short. I like that song. It's 105. Okay, great. So now I am looking for things that are within this 105 range. So I could even use a filter here. I think there's a custom search, and I could sort for anything that is between 101. Let me see, 101 to, what did I say? It's 105. So it's what, 109? So 105, 101 to 109. And I can also select, maybe certain genres, like let's say hip hop and rock and pop and country. Cool. So now I'm going to say go. So now what this is doing is, now that this is sorted in the record pool, everything that is within that range, that is also like some of the genres that I selected. Now, this is just one record pool. This is Direct Music Service. Shout out to Kevin Scott and War and Peace over there. Great guys, and the whole DMS team. But you can also explore, find record pools, put this into a search, DJ record pools. I know for those of you who are not in this quite yet, you maybe have never even heard of that term. And pools, by the way, is POOLS, like a pool, like a swimming pool that you would jump into. So record pools, and you can find different ones that are out there. There's some really great ones. DJcity.com is another great one. Shout out to my friends at DJ City. BPM Supreme is another good one. These are 2 of the more popular record pools out there. And of course, Direct Music Service, Heavy Hits. The list goes on and on. There's one called Zip DJ. There's quite a few that are out there. So you would pay a subscription, but then you would have unlimited downloads in some of the cases for some of these pools. So it would allow you to just get in and start downloading some music. However, remember what I said, don't just download everything. Okay, so the first thing that we talked about, you need music. And then the second thing is you need some way to control that music. So I need software, and I also need hardware. So in terms of software, there's lots of different options out there. I'm going to throw out a couple. Some of you have heard of some of this. Some of you maybe have some real preferences when it comes to this. So do me a favor, put in the comments, what is the software of your choice? What is the best software that is out there? I'm really curious. This is going to spark a little bit of a debate. There's a couple that are out there that, are more popular than others. Serato is a very popular DJ software. In fact, here in the United States, it's often seen as the #1 DJ software. Serato, the most used in terms of actual pro users. Serato has a option for Serato DJ Lite and also Serato DJ Pro. So let me pull this up over here so you can see this. Serato.com. And you'll see that there is Serato DJ Pro and Serato DJ Lite. Now, you can download both of these softwares without having a controller quite yet. You can just download that. You'll need to create an account, and they're both free downloads. The software is free. Where you'll start to pay for it is when you want some of the pro features and things like that, and you want to connect your pro features to a controller that doesn't unlock the pro features. Then that's when you're going to pay for it. But outside of that, you can download both of these softwares. Serato DJ Pro, that's one. Another one, Rekordbox. made by Pioneer DJ and Alpha Theta. You've got Record Box. Oh, why is this? Huh. All right, that's weird that that's not pulling up right away. All right, well, yeah, there it goes. Okay, so Record Box, that's another option, right? So we can download Record Box as well for free. And there's a couple of different plans. You can see the plans here. The Record Box plans kind of confuse me at times. There's just a lot of different options. You've got the professional, the creative. Each one of them can also come with the cloud option. But yes, you can get going for free, even on Record Box. See, free. And Rekordbox generally is the software that most people are using when they're using the CDJs. So those big CDJ setups, the big media players that you'll see on a festival stage or in every major nightclub, roads need to go through Rekordbox with a little bit of an asterisk because that changed slightly not too long ago with the introduction of something called One Library. We'll get into that in just a moment. But Rekordbox generally is what most people are using to be able to format their USB drive to be able to go directly into those CDJs. So that's another option as a software that's out there. We're just talking about software right now. Another option could be Algorithm DJ. Some people refer to this as DJ Pro. This software became famous, most notably for their iPhone app and their iPad apps. However, this is completely cross-platform. So not only just for Mac, it recognizes that I'm on a Mac right now, which is why it pulled that up. But they also do have a Windows app, also an Android app, of course, a Mac app, also an iOS version as well for iPad and for iPhone. Great piece of software. I love that. I love DJ Pro. There's so many really awesome features inside of DJ Pro. And yeah, incredible development team. They do some great work over there. Another one that you've probably heard of at some point in time is called Virtual DJ. They claim to be the #1 most popular DJ software with over however many, what is that, 100 million downloads maybe? So there are quite a few people that are using Virtual DJ. There are some pros and cons to each one of these software programs. What I would recommend is to pick one and roll with it. A lot of times what will determine what software you pick is what hardware you get. So software, and then we've got hardware. In terms of hardware, there's lots of different options for hardware. As a beginner, I would recommend not spending probably more than $500 on hardware to get started. You can always upgrade later, but the last thing you would want is you spend all this money on the gear and you don't know how to use it. Now, if money is no object and you're not worried about budget, I could definitely make some recommendations for other things as well. However, there is nothing wrong with starting with something like this. In fact, this is the most popular DJ controller on the market right now. This is called the DDJ Flex 4. This is a controller made by Pioneer DJ and Alpha Theta. This actually works with Serato, Record Box, Algorithm DJ Pro. I've seen people hook Virtual DJ into this as well. It works great. It works with an iPhone. It works with an Android phone. It works with an iPad. It also works with a laptop or a desktop computer. This thing is the most flexible controller on the market. So this would maybe be a good consideration. This is retail price at the time of recording this, $329. Not bad. Not a bad place to start. We also have courses specifically on the DDJ Flex 4, as well as other controllers that are out there, but I would spend less money versus more money on the gear. The last thing you want to do is drop all your money into the gear. And this gear, by the way, depreciates over time. It just is what it is. The second you open that box, you've already lost some value because you're not going to be able to resell it for what you bought it at. That's just how some of these things go. But oftentimes your hardware will determine what software you're using, and hopefully that's helpful for you. These are those first two categories in terms of you need music, #1. Go back to it just so you have it. You need music, #1. It's how to get started as a DJ. #2, you need some way of controlling that music, which would be a software and a hardware. And you need to make some choices here. Now, some of the software also, by the way, is going to be depending on what your computing options are. Some of you, I recognize, do not necessarily have a laptop. Maybe you have a desktop, but you don't have a laptop, but you do have the latest and greatest iPhone. So maybe you actually lean more towards an option like Algorithm DJ or Recordbox Mobile, that is a mobile app that you can use with something like the Flex 4, because this will actually connect to your phone. So maybe that's your setup. If you have any questions about this, you need help with any of it, make sure to put in the comments below, and we will do our best to be able to answer back as many of you as we can. We want to be able to help you out, make some recommendations. The couple of questions that I will ask you, so just be prepared. Number one, do you have any experience already? Number two, what is your budget that you're looking to spend? And you got to be honest about your budget. Don't tell me you have $100 to spend, because you're going to burn through that real quick. Your options are going to be pretty limited. But if you had like a $300 budget, $500 budget, you could get pretty far off of something like that. It's not impossible to get going with that type of budget. Zero, though, is not going to get you very far. And I'm just trying to be as honest as possible. You can watch some videos here on YouTube and be able to get an understanding of it, but you're not really going to be able to invest in equipment and really invest in training that'll help you out. So, yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Let me pause for a second. Let me just double check our chat. We've got some people that are here live with us. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to take a look right now. I'm sorry, I was in my flow. I was moving. I missed some of what you'd said. Anthony Wilson is here. Let's see, DMS, use BPM Stream, download. Yes. Yes, Serato. Yes, on Serato, DJ Pro is go-to. Outcast MC69, new subscriber here. Welcome, Outcast. Been running stems on sampler for Rev 1. I'm told to place that on another pad in order to activate my effects. Drops to sampler. Thoughts, please. Yeah, absolutely. Like, we can get into that too. Let me put that here on here. So Outcast, you can see that there. I see DJ Kaiseri with us here on Twitch. We are also simulcast broadcasting this at the same time to Twitch. So shout out to our Twitch folks. All right. So Outcast MC69. Let me kind of pause what I was doing to be able to show you on the Rev 1. I have the Flex 4 plugged in, which is going to be very similar to what the Rev 1 is in terms of the layout. Both made by Pioneer DJ. What you were asking was how to replace the pad mode with stems, or whether or not that made sense, because now you don't have the sampler anymore. So let me just kind of show you what we're talking about here. And actually, really quick, before I do that, Outcast MC69, hold on for me just 1 second. I just wanted to finish this last thought that I had, because the whole premise of like the initial part of me coming live here was I wanted to make sure to break down for people who are out there who are interested in getting into DJing, or maybe you're at the very early stages of getting into DJing, but you need to know what you need in order to be successful and how to DJ. I've really made this simple for you. These are the three things you need to have. You need music. You need to have music. So that's either streaming. We talked about this here. Streaming, pay per track streaming through a subscription, or record pools. I would highly recommend record pools over all of the others. And in this order, you see I have 3 check marks next to pools, 2 when purchase per track, and 1 for subscription. You need to go through, find tracks, start to BPM out songs. BPM becomes really important in terms of what can go with what. And then you need some way of being able to control that music. Now, you technically could be able to DJ without the DJ controller. You can DJ with just the software. And in fact, actually, if you are on an iPad, let's say, I mean, you could just use your finger with the multi-touch. It's amazing. If you're doing this on a laptop, it's a little bit more challenging with just a mouse and keyboard. It's a little bit more challenging to do that, but you could do that. Keyboard shortcuts and a mouse. I've done it before. I've recorded mixes like that on the go. So it's totally possible to do that. However, it is nice to have a controller. But if you're on a budget, you're like, coach, I can't really afford the controller yet. I can download the software. I can get access to music, can hook that in, and I could start going through your courses and be able to figure that out. Yes, 100%. You could do that for sure. There is a way around that. The last thing, though, that I was going to say was you have your DJ controller, you have your software, and then the third thing is so important. You need a plan. You need a plan. If you start this process and you don't have a plan, it's going to be very frustrating. In fact, there are lots of people, thousands of people that get into DJing every day. And there are thousands of people that quit DJing every day. I don't want you to be one of those. You're here, you're watching this, you are interested, you want to take this to the next stage. We need to have a step-by-step process that you're following then. And while YouTube is great, learning things in this random order is only going to get you more frustrated. So having a step-by-step plan is important. Now, I personally think that we've got a great one. We've got a great plan lined out. If you resonate with the way that I coach, come be a part of what we're doing. I'd be happy to walk you through the step-by-step process to be able to get you to that first milestone, which is DJing in front of friends or family. That really is the first milestone universally, right? Like that's generally what the first step is. The first big aha moment, the first like gig, quote unquote, is you DJing in your living room for your significant other, or you DJing in the backyard as you have a couple friends come over and just hang out. Like that's going to be your first opportunity. And when you taste that, it'll be very hard to go back. At that moment, you will be like, I'm hooked. This is it. And some of you know what I'm talking about. In the chat, go ahead and put in the chat what your first gig was and that moment that you got hooked, right? So that is the step-by-step process that we lead our students to, all the way through to now we have a full Pro DJ certification program where we are also teaching you how to create a brand for yourself and how to make a real business out of this and how to take this to the next level. But we don't want to put that first. The first step is we need to figure out how we let our controller get put to use and not just collect dust over here. The other thing I'll say is this. I understand that I'm not for everybody. And there are some really great friends of mine that have some great courses out there and who do great work. And so if you resonate more with somebody else, I will not be offended. I would love to be able to help you out, but if I'm not your guy, that's cool. I just want you to have a step-by-step process, because if you don't have an actual plan, this will all just collect dust. That passion that you had will shrivel up, and then you're now on to the next thing. And I don't want you to do that. Like, I think you're here for a reason. I believe that you have the opportunity to be able to spread this joy and this love for music to other people that are out there. I think it's going to take some effort on your part. Like nothing's just going to happen out of thin air. You have to put some effort in, but you need somebody in your corner, a coach, a course, somebody to be able to walk this out with you so that you don't fall off. That is absolutely critical. So make sure that you have that. These are the steps that you would need. This is not any type of secret. These are the 3 steps that you need in order to be able to get started as a DJ. And to keep going, honestly, as a DJ, you need all these things. The last one I added in was feedback. This part is important. So if you have a plan and you've signed up for a course, but you have no feedback, you don't know if you're doing it right, you only get input, or you're only output. It's only output, but you're not getting input back into you. That's not going to work out well. How do you know if you're doing it right? You could actually be doing it wrong, and you spend all this time, all of these hours reinforcing bad habits. You need a feedback loop, whether that's somebody locally who's a local mentor, somebody that's maybe a couple steps ahead of you. Maybe that is somebody like us who we're able to coach you through this and be able to provide feedback. It's a huge part of what our program is. It's not just about the plan and just giving you lessons and now go off and do it. It's actually creating a feedback loop. And if you don't have that, it's going to be very difficult to see progress. It will also get frustrating. So there it is. I've said it. I want to now shift gears. I know that Outcast MC69 had asked me a quick question. I'm going to go through this real fast. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen. Serato, here we are. I am using the Flex 4. What he was asking about was you go into settings, and here in settings, there is a replace primary hardware pad mode with stems. And there's a drop down. Right now it's set as the sampler. It only gives me one option. So here's what I'm talking about, learning in this really disjointed way. It sounds like Outcast. I could be wrong, but it sounds like Outcast, like somebody out there told you you should use a different option. And you maybe went here and you're like, I don't see another option because there isn't another option with your controller. Not every controller has multiple options. That drop down varies depending on what controller you have plugged in. So if I were to plug in a Flex 10 or a Rev 5 or a different controller, I would see some different options in those cases. Now, another thing to consider is just because this controller does not have a dedicated area for stems does not mean that I can't use stems on it. This is really important. I think a lot of people think that, oh, well, this doesn't work with stems. It absolutely works with stems. I just need to map it properly. So in this case, when I go back over to Serato, let's go ahead and replace primary pad mode with stems. We're going to replace our sampler with stems. So now as I'm playing a song, and I switched over to the sampler, let me give you this shot instead. So as I'm here on the sampler, let me move your question out of the way. Here on the sampler, and do this so you can see. These are the samples I'm using. All right, so all of these, my performance pads now work for sampler. Now, the question though is, well, then how can you now access your sampler? Do I need to go back into settings each time and toggle that on and off? You could, or this is even better. You can learn the keyboard shortcuts in Serato, which the sampler is using ZXCVBNM comma. So it's that bottom row of your keyboard. So the first slot of the sampler here, let me go ahead and switch over so you can see this. So on my sampler, let's go ahead and open up my sampler here. You can see all the different sound effects that I've got loaded in here. So this would be Z, X, C, V, B, N, M, comma, right, across the board. That's how this would work. So all I'm going to do is hit Z on my keyboard. So as this was playing, right, I can still use my sampler. So learning the keyboard shortcuts becomes very, very critical. And in fact, with any software, but especially with creative software like any of our DJ software that we've got, Serato, Rekordbox, Virtual DJ, Algorithm DJ, learning the keyboard shortcuts can be really helpful. Now, they also will sell these these overlays for the keyboard. Some of you have seen this. Let me switch over to this real quick so you can see that. Actually, let me. There's an overlay for the keyboard. Actually, well, before I show you that, let me show you this in Serato. If I go here to the help section, show shortcut keys, these are all of the shortcuts. Do not try to memorize all of these. You'll drive yourself crazy unless you've got a crazy memory. I wouldn't try to memorize all of these. Instead, I would know the basic ones that I need to know on a regular basis, such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is set and jump to the first 5 hot cues on the left deck. 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 is the first 5 hot cues on the right deck. W is for play and pause on the left deck. S is for play and pause on the right deck. You know, these are some basic things that you need to know. Like same with like loading tracks, shift left, shift right. You need to know the basic shortcuts. But what I was going to say is they also sell a keyboard cover. Let me show you this. Although I don't recommend it. I'm sorry, I don't recommend the keyboard cover for Serato. Let me show you. So it's made by this company called KB Covers. I'm just looking at Guitar Center right now. Wait, hold on. Okay, so it looks like this. And it has all these colors. It's got this writing that's over it. Now, on one hand, you're like, Coach, why would you not recommend this? This is great. Now I don't have to memorize these shortcuts. Yeah, but it also is giving you a whole bunch of things that you probably don't need and won't use. So instead, what I would recommend is getting a blank keyboard cover and then maybe just putting stickers on it for the things that are the most important things that you want to know. So like your play and pause, put a sticker on those, put a sticker on the loop, activate, maybe a sticker on the first hot cue of each deck. Just being able to customize it a little bit more. This is crazy. There's so many things going on. And then there's this like blue option, red control. Like it's a lot. So I would recommend the other side of that, which is to get a blank one and then just make it your own. And then you could roll with that. But other part is just being able, you'll memorize these over time. Like it is second nature now. Of course I've been DJing for a long time, but it will become second nature. Okay, cool. Let's see. What do we got here? We've got some other folks that are here in the chat. Yes, I see Kaiseri and Joey Mack on Twitch. Good to see you, fellas. Some of our recent grads from our Pro DJ certification program. Good to have you all. Today, what I really am doing is I wanted to start with a session all about how to DJ and what are the things that you need. We broke that down. We made it pretty plain and simple, I think, for most people to understand. So at this point, I'd also love to open up for a Q&A. If any of you have any questions, I've got about 24 minutes left here. If any of you have any questions that you want answered, it could be about something technical when it comes to DJing. It could also be about, the business of DJing or anything. We're here to answer any questions that you have. I wanted to make myself available this afternoon and be able to answer any questions that anybody from our larger community might have. So feel free to put them in the chat. Yeah, we can jump into that. N81844 from Fort Lauderdale. Here to say what's up, Scratch Fam. Oh, yes. Shout out to my Scratch Fam. For those of you that don't know, I've got I could also sit here and I could talk all day. So, if nobody has any questions, I could start storytelling if you want and be able to give you some stories. But I spent 15 years with a company called Scratch DJ Academy, which a part of my heart still lives inside of Scratch. It was such an incredible journey, and it really was where I fell in love with teaching, and not only where I fell in love with teaching, but where I learned how valuable teaching was and how I sharpened my skills with some of the teaching that I've done. I mean, in recent years, those skills have been sharpened even more in some other places, going and becoming a professor at a college, teaching DJing, having to write a for real syllabus. Like I was writing what was called a syllabus at Scratch, which that was not a syllabus. When I look at the syllabus I wrote at Scratch versus the syllabus that I have at my college, like it's completely different. Completely different game. And then same with also now teaching online and being able to translate what we do to make it even simpler, to break it down even more so here online. That's really been a real process, and it has really sharpened me in some other ways as well. But I love all of the people that were a part of Scratch DJ Academy. I think we had just an incredible run together and had built schools in 6 different cities here in the States, and then also impacted thousands of people even beyond those city walls. But anytime I hear Scratch Fam, I'm reminded of just like how really we are united in this, and really the identifier of being a DJ culturally sometimes supersedes your ethnic culture, right? Or wherever you're located, even whatever, aside from being a Californian, let's say. I mean, I identify more as a DJ than a Californian, let's say, you know what I mean? So good to see you. Thanks for tapping in. Good to hear. Hopefully you're still DJing maybe and still doing stuff. Keep me posted. All right, cool. Questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We are here for all of it. In the meantime, as you get your question ready, which by the way, you don't have to be here with a question. In fact, I have actually learned that sometimes the most valuable experience is when you don't have a question, but you're just here to observe and soak it up. Other people ask questions that you didn't even think about asking, and you get inspired by something that you didn't expect. So no pressure if you don't have a question, but I wanted to come on over here. So let me show you what I was talking about here. If it KB covers. So if we go to like KB cover, KB keyboard covers. Let's go to their actual website. So you'll see that they have these different covers for different keyboards. Most of them, you know, I've seen other ones for, yeah, like Logic, Ableton. They have ones for graphic design. But what I would say is just going with a blank one, going with like a blank keyboard cover. Let's see if I can find one. Audio and DJ. I think there's one that's, you've got, I know they sell them. Okay, protection. Maybe it's just protection. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So you could just go with like a clear or like a clear skin, and then you would go with the one that is your laptop. So you need to know most of this is going to be for Macs, simply because the keyboard for a Mac is pretty standard, as opposed to the keyboards for PCs. There's just so many different types of PCs. So that's what I would recommend. I would go with one of those. At the same time, that probably would help with my with my laptop. My laptop gets so dirty. Don't judge me. My laptop gets so dirty, and probably a keyboard cover would help out. Now I'm considering it. Maybe that's something I need to invest in. Okay, cool. Checking the chat here. We've got Darkness 7081, new to the craft. Do you feel the Serato slab is a good tool to use while DJing or no? Great question. I'm actually let me put your comment up here in the great question. I think the slab is a really cool piece of gear. It was originally designed for Serato Studio. It's made by Alpha Theta, which is the parent company for Pioneer DJ, and it looks really cool. Like, I like the look of it, and I like the size of it as well. I don't actually have one. I wish I had one here in the studio. I might need to ask my friends over at Alpha Theta to be able to get my hands on one. I did get a chance to mess around with it a bit, though, and we also have a couple of students that do have the slab. I have one student in particular that comes to mind. His name is Clags, who's a big fan of using the slab with the Flex 4. And by the way, if you use the slab with the Flex 4, you then gain extra pads, extra knobs, and you have some additional things that you can use. But one of the biggest things that most people don't know is this actually unlocks EQ stem isolation. What the heck, coach? What is that? Let me explain. So if you plug in the slab at the same time as you have, let's say, the Flex 4 plugged in, what then ends up happening is your EQ knobs can actually be replaced with vocals, melody, and bass, and then drums. So when you move the actual knob, it will take out the drums, but not just on and off. It'll fade out the drum stem or fade out the melody stem, fade out the vocals. Really great way to get even smoother mixing by replacing the EQ. You can't do that without the slab. The slab basically unlocks that for this controller. You can do that on a controller like the Rev 5 or the Flex 10. You hold shift and then hit the headphone cue on whichever side you want. And when you do that, now the EQ knobs become stems. And if you did it again, it would toggle between them. So it would turn it on and turn it off. And now you would have the ability to control that. So for those of you who use other software, this is kind of an interesting thing. Let me actually I'm going to close my, let me close Serato, and I'm going to reopen something else. So hang on, let me close this up. Because in Serato, what we're talking about primarily is Serato, what I just shared with you. But if you use Algorithm DJ, which I'm going to pull this up here, that is already built into Algorithm DJ. So let me show you where that's at. DJ Pro. Okay, so on DJ Pro, let me see if I can get I need to get a song that I know I'm not going to get in trouble for on YouTube. So give me a second. I have a couple of songs like that. Okay, so this one is all good for that. You gotta be smart, you know what I mean? You gotta work your way around this. Okay, so you hopefully can hear that. And then you should be able to see Okay, so this is our mixer section right here in Algorithm DJ, and you can see that I have the ability to switch between EQ or what's called neural mix. So if I am on neural mix, what then happens is let's wait for vocals. Pretty cool. Right. So in this case, I was using the actual EQ knobs, and it was taking the stems in and out. I know I had this sized for Serato, so it's not going to look right, but you get the idea if I switch over to that. Like I was using these knobs here as my high, mid, and low, and able to control the stems. So really great. Cool way to do that. A cool workaround there. And yeah, if you were to use Algorithm DJ, that would work. But Slab is great. And but what I would say is you won't use Slab to DJ with. So that's also maybe a misconception, especially for people who are just getting started. Like using Slab, or let me see if I don't have it here. I had like a launch pad or like a keyboard. You wouldn't really use that to DJ with, or even like something that just had a bunch of pads on it. You'd want something that really is in this kind of form factor, because you then have your jog wheel, you have your mixer section, your ability to control volume, you've got like your pads and your tempo slider. You need all of the pieces that are here to be able to effectively DJ. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Any other questions? Feel free to put them in the chat. I'm here. I'm monitoring the chat. In the meantime, as you don't have those questions, I will just kind of continue on here. We've got another 10 to 15 minutes live, and I will show you something here inside Algorithm DJ that I found that's really awesome. So let's go ahead and switch over to this. I'm going to make this full screen on my side. For those of you who are coming over from Serato or Rekordbox and you want to be able to get into Algorithm DJ, there's a section on here where you can pull up your external apps, and you'll see your Serato crates and your Rekordbox collection straight away inside of Algorithm DJ. So the way I even pulled this song in, I didn't have to put this in the collection. I just dragged the song from Serato and from my Serato crates, which I can see on my Serato crates here, and I can just drag them in. Now I can also do things like this is my cleared on YouTube crate, and I can take this entire crate and say add to my collection, or I can add it to my USB library, which I kind of teased about this earlier, but there's now something called One Library. So what used to happen is if you were a Serato guy or gal and you were getting ready to DJ on a pair of CDJs in the club or at a festival stage, you would need to transfer your music from Serato to Rekordbox, and then from Rekordbox onto a USB stick. That's what you would need to do before. Now with One Library, you can actually go from Serato straight into Algorithm DJ, and from Algorithm DJ, you can sync to the USB drive from Algorithm DJ. That's pretty awesome. So this will circumvent Rekordbox, which nothing against Rekordbox. I love Rekordbox. I use Rekordbox too, but there is a couple of extra steps. I have to convert my library from Serato to Rekordbox and then be able to get it on the stick. So I'm using a third party in that case called Lexicon or Mixo. I'm using one of those two services to be able to transfer my hot cues, my loops, all that information into Rekordbox, from Serato to Rekordbox. In this case, with Algorithm DJ, I don't need any of that. In fact, Algorithm DJ actually reads my hot cues from Serato, colors and all of my comments on that stuff. It reads it right away. And from there, like you'll see this, it reads it right away. And from here, now I can just export to USB. So if I just wanted this folder on USB, I would need to plug in a USB drive first, but I can add to the USB library, and then it would put it on the USB drive. Then I could take that USB drive and pop it directly into a CDJ 3000 and be DJing. Not only with the hot cues, but I also then would be using the awesome grid detection. So Algorithm DJ has a really great beat grid analysis where it is a dynamic beat grid that's using technology to be able to figure out where the markers are, like where the beats are, and it's top notch. I've never seen anything like it. So you can take a song that where the grid drifts. In fact, let's take something. Let's take something here. I want to show you this. All right, let's go inside of my library. I've got a tag called needs or edit grid. Yeah, I think some of these. Okay, so okay, I know this song in particular, Black and Gold. The grid is all over the place. And wow, it's figured it out. That's amazing to me. So I know you can't really hear this because this is a bass line, but hold on. Okay, grid marks look good. And you might be saying, well, coach, what's the big deal? Like, yeah, the grid is on, like, not a big deal. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to show you, I'm going to open this up inside of Serato, same file. And I'm not here to diss Serato. I love everybody. These are all of our friends. But I do want to show you this. That was Sam Sparrow. Good track, by the way. Sam Sparrow, Black and Gold. Black, Gold. Hold on. Okay. This is the track. Hang on. Let me show you. Look at this. It said it's 102. It's not. It's already off. There should be a beat marker there. And the reason why this got this off is because there's a bit of a swing to the drums. So it's calculated this a different way, the way that the BPM was calculated, and therefore that like threw off the grid. But the beat grid detection inside of Algorithm DJ is top notch. And what sometimes people don't realize is that when you then sync and use the USB drive from Algorithm DJ, when you then go to a CDJ, it's going to have that beat grid from Algorithm DJ on it. So if this was a James Brown song where Clyde Stubblefield, the drummer, is drifting and it's a live track, it's going to adjust for that. It's crazy. I don't know how they even do it. I remember when they told me about this. I was in Europe several years ago with these guys, and they were telling me about this new technology that they had built for the beat grid and that it was going to be revolutionary and game changing. And to be honest, I think it's still very under promoted. Like, I don't think there's a lot of DJs that know how amazing the beat grid detection is inside of Algorithm DJ. So I don't know. I mean, I use everything, but Serato is my primary. But it's got me thinking. I'll just be honest. It's got me thinking. I was talking to my boy Angelo, who's over there the other day, and there's exciting things on the way. Obviously, like as a software company, they're continuing to innovate. And so look, I'm not saying that like it's gonna be it's the best DJ software out there, but when it comes to the beat grid, amazing. When it comes to the stems, amazing. The ability to use this on mobile, incredible, right? So there's a lot of benefits in that. Any other questions that you have, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we're kind of coming down to we're winding this thing down, landing the plane here in about 5 minutes. Best viewers jump something. I don't know what that is. All right, maybe you're just out here promoting your own thing. Kai Suri says dope, super dope track. Yes. By the way, look up Sam Sparrow. Sparro. Sam Sparrow. There's he put out I think it was an EP or it might have been a full length. This is now probably 15 years ago. If you like Prince, you'll hear the Prince influence on Sam Sparrow for sure. And that Black and Gold record is one. And there's a handful of tracks off that album or off that EP that were just so fire. And I gotta see. I know I ripped it from the CD that I had. That's how long ago that was. So maybe it was more than 15 years. No, it's probably 15 years ago, something like that. Oh, Kaiseri, you know about that then? Yeah. Okay. Good. Awesome. All right. Well, let's see. Let me give you one more thing then. Let me give you one more thing as we're winding this down. Let me go back to DJ Pro. Let me give you one more thing inside of DJ Pro that I also think is cool. So, because we're on YouTube and I've got to be mindful of my tracks I'm playing, I'm going to give you something that I've cleared, that's been cleared. Okay, so this is playing. I want to show you something that I really like inside of DJ Pro, which is you have the ability inside of DJ Pro to not only add in samples, but you can also add in loops. So there's this looper that's been built into DJ Pro, and all of these packs are designed for all of these clips to work together. So if you wanted to take something like, let's say, right, so you get the idea. So right now, all I'm doing is I'm just clicking on it with my mouse and keyboard. Now, the other really cool thing about this is right now this is playing at 124, but if I were to play this song, and now I want to sync these things. You'll notice it already changed it to 115. Guess we believe it. Look who we are. We are the dreamers. We make it happen. Cause we can see it. Yes, to the one. Let's keep the passion. Respect. Oh yeah. It's to the one. Let's get the man. Respect. Oh yeah. So this is not only is this giving you the same BPM, but this is also syncing the key to what this is at as well. So like, listen to how this changes. I'm going to change the key. It's so crazy. It's locked in. It's syncing the BPM and also the key at the same time. You're able to add in these different loops, which are, drum loops, but also melody loops, melodic loops. The only thing you can't do is you can't add in your own in terms of that pack. But there are different packs. So right now I was on the loop. I'm on the looper, and I was on the deep house pack. But there's all these other packs as well, so I can like get more packs. They've got like ambient house, analog techno. There's all these ones that are here that I can add in, and it's wild. It's wild that you can do this. Which, by the way, this is also available on iPhone and on the iPad. Is the ability to have this as well. So, yeah, really, really great feature because you could really get very creative in terms of how you layer in some of these loops as things are going. So, yeah, something to consider, something to look into. However, I'm not here to overwhelm you. So let's keep it simple. So just as a recap, for those who are brand new to DJing, which I know there's quite a few of you who are here on the channel that are new to DJing, which I love that. We would love to help you out. something that I broke down here. So just to recap, you need 3 things in order to be able to DJ today. You need music, you need some way to control that music, right? So recap real quick. For music, that would be MP3s or streaming services. I do recommend MP3s over streaming services, especially for those of you who want to play out and start to gig at some point. Streaming is not going to be a great source for you when it comes to that. It's just not stable. The second part of it is you need some way to control that music. So you need software, and you also need some type of DJ controller potentially. Although you could DJ with just an iPad or an iPhone and using your finger. However, having a controller is going to feel a lot better probably. And then the third thing, which is super important, is you need a plan. You need a step-by-step plan. And I added in this fourth one of feedback, but you need a step-by-step plan. Like I said before, whether that's myself and our team here at the DJ Coach, or whether that's somebody else who's pouring into you, find somebody that resonates with you and that you resonate with, and you feel like you can trust them and that they have the time for you and they have the knowledge and the understanding and they're going to guide you through this. The last thing you want, and I've heard so many stories of this, is somebody said, oh yeah, my friend was teaching me, or oh, my cousin was teaching me. Well, why are they not teaching you anymore? Oh, well, they just got busy. Like, oh, well, like, I don't know, we just stopped doing it. Okay. Like, you don't want your dream to die just because you can't get a hold of somebody, right? So being able to invest in yourself in that way and invest in this path and this plan that you have can be really, really helpful for you. And if you need help with whatever that next step is, feel free to leave a message, leave a comment. You can also email us, staff, STAFF at thedjcoach.com. You can also email me directly, Hapa, HAPA at thedjcoach.com. We'd be more than happy to be able to help you out, help guide you and set you in the right direction, help you figure out maybe what's the best thing for you to buy, because it's not one size fits all. And at least be able to get you going. That's the whole thing, is to get going and then to keep going. That is very, very important. Thank you for everybody who is here, who tuned in and jumped on. It's great to see some of you. I know some of you I haven't seen in a while. Nice to see you. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Make sure to follow the channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe and click that little bell or whatever to be notified anytime we go live, because I will be going live sometimes randomly. And we'd love for you to join in on one of those live sessions, be able to get your questions answered, be able to hang out with some of the folks here. Great to see you. Before I go, I have one more thing that was in the YouTube. It looks like the Ruckus 1216. What's good, Hapa? It was great chopping up with you, Nam. Suggestions on how to hide cables, etc. on the back of setups. I'm so glad that you brought that up. And I was just about to log off, but I just saw your message. So I want to address that real quick. Okay. DJing on a folding table with no tablecloth, this will look bad. Now, there's a lot of different options at a lot of different price points. If money is no object, go out and get my buddy Joe Bunn's Bun Command Center. That thing is amazing, but it's expensive. But you get what you pay for. But for a couple of grand, you could get a full nice setup. Your controller fits right in it. You've got the right little attachments and a little hook for your headphones and a little hook for your drink and everything. I mean, that thing is amazing. But if you're not trying to spend that type of money, at the very least, what I would say is, at the very, very least, to be conscious of your setup, understand how you're running wires. You probably should not be running wires from every direction, right? Try to get wires running in one direction and then get some gaff tape, GAFF. A lot of times, this is gaffer's tape, GAFFERS, gaffer's tape. This is not duct tape. It's gaffer's tape. It's not painter's tape. It's gaff tape. It will stick, but it won't leave a residue. So it'll hold the cables down. They sell them in different colors, but you could at least tape things down so that things are at least a bit neater in terms of your setup. Generally speaking, though, what I also recommend is running cables in one direction, getting things taped off. But even more than that, if you have the budget for it, and maybe you're not ready for the command center quite yet, but you've got a couple of $100, invest in one of these DJ stands that literally has a like a facade that hides the wires. You could buy a separate facade, but I think it's just extra to have that. I would just get a stand that then brings your setup to counter height already. It's nice. It folds down. I have one by Pro X that's been great. I've bought 3 of them over no, sorry. I bought 4 of them over the last 2 years. I've bought 4 of them. They're great. They fold up. They go into this case. They're a bit heavy, but it's sturdy. It's well made, and it even has a shelf for your laptop. It's the Pro X DJ stand. I'll find the actual model of it. If you want, make sure to email me and I'll send you the model of it. I think I got them for like $300, $200 to $300. It's pretty affordable. And it has this scrim that goes around it that is this kind of stretchy, like spandex type of material, but it has Velcro around it as well. So it doesn't wrinkle. And that's actually really important too. You don't want to have a tablecloth then that you have to constantly iron or steam out. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, hiding cables is going to be really helpful for you. And I think trying to minimize the cables that you do have, get everything nice and neat, nice and tidy, invest in some gaff tape as well. Presentation is important. You look over at the DJ and it just looks like you just kind of slapped your stuff down on a folding table. That doesn't look good, right? That's not going to look good in photos and things like that. So invest in yourself. Great. Bye, everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you later. I'm here to empower and inspire the next generation.
This week, the creator of the curriculum, DJ Hapa.
DJ Hapa.
Sometimes you are given something and it is really your job to figure out, do I take this as is or do I try to find what lies beneath? I am so grateful and so blessed to have been able to do so many amazing things through my career and through my life. But the biggest blessing is getting a chance to wake up every morning, excited to see what God is going to do through me next.